everyone ready? I think so. Great, we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. My name is Melissa Fazekas, and I am the spokeswoman for the We Are Ohio campaign. Today we stand outside fire station number 1. It's one of the busiest fire stations in the city of Columbus. Our location underscores just one of the many reasons that we are here today. Firefighters are just one of the number of professions that are being attacked by Senate Bill 5. As you know, We Are Ohio was formed to fight Senate Bill 5, which is unfair, unsafe, and hurts us all. Our broad-based coalition of more than 10,000 volunteers collected an unprecedented 1.3 million signatures to place the repeal of Senate Bill 5 on the ballot as issue number 2. Recently, it has been reported that those representing our opposition have been making overtures to thwart the will of the people. The fact that Governor Kasich would now ask for a backroom deal while the legislature isn't even here in session is insulting. When the law was being debated, he wouldn't let many of our teachers, nurses, police officers, and firefighters testify in public against the law. We didn't want to pursue the citizens' veto. It wasn't our first choice. Hardworking Ohioans have sacrificed wages and benefits and tried to convince the governor that this was a flawed law that goes too far. But now it's too late. We recognize our huge responsibility to our more than 1.3 million supporters who placed issue 2 on the ballot, and we need to let the voters decide. We will not let the politicians and lobbyists thwart the will of the people. Joining me today is a number of our supporters who were locked out of the process earlier this year. They are here to tell you why they have earned the right to vote no on issue 2 in November. First, I'd like to introduce Erin Duran-Salzer, a teacher from Pickerington School District.
Good afternoon. My name is Erin Duran-Salzer, and I'm a high school special education teacher with the Pickerington Local Schools from Pickerington Central High School. I was there on that cold February day when the doors of the State House were locked and my voice could not be heard, knowing that the senators and representatives that I had elected no longer wanted to know how this would impact school funding, class size, and learning conditions for my students, only added to my anger and frustration that day. I was locked out of my opportunity to have my voice heard on that day, and I no longer wanted to have that happen again. November 8th is that opportunity for my voice and the voice of the 1.3 million Ohioans that have signed petitions to have the opportunity to vote no on issue 2 and veto Senate Bill 5. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to introduce Ebony Martin. She is a private sector employee for AT&T.
Good afternoon. My name is Ebony Martin, and I'm an activist. I remember the day I felt left out when it came to entering my state house, the People's House. It was a cold, rainy, sleety, cloudy day. When the wind blew across my face, it felt like a burning freeze. Just imagine, I couldn't enter the State House due to the fact that they locked us out. We sang and we chanted on the outside, "Let us in, let us in." I found an opening. It was a window that appeared to be open for the next taxpayer who got locked out the State House. It just happened to be my lucky day. I went through the window and I was able to let others go through that same window. By the time I got in, the powerful message coming from the outside sang to the inside. People were chanting, "Let them in, let them in." With the power of the people, we can win. That's why we must fight and hold our elected officials accountable. 1.3 million people want their vote heard. I want the opportunity to vote no on issue 2 and veto Senate Bill 5. Thank you.
And last, we have Steve Loomis with us. He is a police officer from Cleveland.
Thank you. My name is Steve Loomis. I'm the president of Cleveland Police Patrolmen's Association. I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that the political process was extremely one-sided. In January, when we started this issue, I was signed up to testify in front of the Senate subcommittees and was not allowed, given that opportunity. We made the trek here at least a dozen times from Cleveland with buses full of people, my membership, policemen, firemen, EMS workers, and we were not given the opportunity to be heard. Through our senators and through contacts in the State House, we asked that this bill, when it was Senate Bill 5, be slowed down. If it's truly a good bill, it would pass the muster of a good, solid debate. That's the American way. And we were shut down summarily on that. For the governor at this point to be asking anybody to sit down and collectively bargain a compromise in this is absolutely ludicrous. It's as ludicrous as him shutting us out of the State House back in the day. Okay, 1.3 million people have spoken. There's many more supporters other than that, and this issue needs to be heard by the voters and voted on by the voters, and that's why I'm here. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll now open it up to questions.
What about the prospect that even if you win in November, operators that pass hearing meetings up for parts of this law? You would wind up getting half of what you wanted. They would get half of what they wanted. Why not do that now?
Well, I think it would be unfortunate if the people of Ohio speak in November and say that they want to repeal the whole bill, and those extreme politicians would come back next year and thwart the will of the people by passing new legislation.
But the polls show that people don't like the whole bill. The polls show as a package voters don't like the whole bill. The polls also show they like parts of it.
But the voters have to decide on the whole bill as a package in November, and that is what the elected officials gave us, and that's what they're voting on with issue 2 in November. Julie?
What is the opinion of those who spoke here today? I know you were focused on the data, you were shut out of the State House. How do you feel with the fact that the Democrats did not offer any amendments to the bill when it was
The Democrats, they were supportive of our position in its entirety. The fact that they didn't offer any amendments is political in nature, and they had their reasons for doing that. They were absolutely supportive of us and our position in Senate Bill 5 from day one. The fact of the matter is that it's a Republican-held Senate, it's a Republican-held House, and any amendments that the Democrats put in there would have just played into the Republican Party hand, the leadership hand. So we're not mad at it. That's what your question is.
Melissa, what kind of overtures has the administration made to your side, though? Have there been any official overtures? Have there been unofficial overtures? I've seen a couple stories, but I mean, from your side, what are you hearing? What has brought this about?
Right, and that's why it's almost insulting that we're here today, because there have been no official conversations between the governor's office and our campaign regarding any type of negotiations. There has never been an offer on the table. We have a campaign structure. We have A.J. Stokes, who is our campaign manager. He has never been contacted by anyone with the governor's office to have a discussion about this.
What about unofficially, people maybe kind of connected to the governor but aren't necessarily with his office?
You know, we are in the state capitol. People have conversations every day. If you're serious about negotiating, you would have a conversation with the leadership of our campaign.
So, to recap, discussion can only be serious if Mr. Stokes or yourself or maybe Dennis were at the table.
Well, I wouldn't probably be at the table, but thank you for putting it that way. No, it would be an honest conversation, and that's what should happen. We have leadership of our campaign, and he should be the person that is having these discussions, and those have not taken place.
But on the other hand, you're saying even if they took place, your answer is no.
We're saying that we believe the will of the people should be heard in November, and these alleged conversations and backroom dealings is not what the will of the people want. They want to vote in November.
I guess, please excuse the tone of this question, but didn't you say this on Monday?
We did, and it's unfortunate that the rumors continued to be churning this entire week about whether or not there were actual conversations going on. And we want to be clear that we're standing here with our 1.3 million supporters who signed petitions to repeal this bill, that we are not going to move forward with any type of these talks. It's just, you can't negotiate things through the press. There should have been an actual overture made to our campaign structure, and there was not.
Can you confirm or deny that the highest ranking members of the AFL-CIO and the Ohio Education Association met with the other side, if you will?
It sounds like you know more about this than I do.
No confirming or denying?
I don't know anything about that.
And if that did take place, would you consider that to be a serious discussion?
No, we have a campaign structure. The conversation was never had with our campaign manager.
So the major campaign announcement is that you're not pulling this from the ballot,
That is correct.
but you never actually toyed with the idea of pulling it from the ballot.
That is correct.